Hello, dear children. Today I will teach you the poem Mirror by Sylvia Plath. Now, Sylvia, this is a very, very famous poem of Sylvia Plath, and Sylvia Plath was one of the very, very important and famous 20th century feminist poetess. She was born on October 27, 1932, in Boston, Massachusetts. Her father was a German and her mother an Austrian, but her father died very early at when she was 8 years old. So she did not experience the love of the father. And later on, of course, she was a very, very intelligent girl and a great, prolific writer. But due to multifarious reasons, she suffered from depression. And why she suffered from depression is because she was born into a patriarchal family. And during the times 1932, I mean during the times of the 50s and the 60s in America, what system prevailed? That was the patriarchal system. And in patriarchal system, what happens is that the woman is not given much of the independence. Like patriarchal system exists in India also. हिंदुस्तान में भी यही है ना कि the father is supposed to be the head of the family and everybody is governed, I mean in the family, and women especially are governed by the rules and regulations laid down by the father of the house. Even though today, in the present contemporary situation, the women are protesting and women have come out of their shell, you can say, and in fact they have reached the zenith of success in their lives by showing their independence in multifarious fields. अब वो बात नहीं रही जो पहले की थी, लेकिन पहले इंडिया में भी यही था that the women were suffering from this patriarchal system, this conservatism, and the domination of a man in the society, or rather, especially in the household. So during the 50s and 60s, it was regarded that the woman, as soon as she grows up, she has to marry, she has to have children. And this was there with Sylvia Plath also. When she grew up at the age of 24, she married Ted Hughes. Now, Ted Hughes is also a very, very famous poet. The Thought Fox उसने poem एक लिखी है, which is prescribed in your course. But in 1962, her marriage did not materialize and she took a divorce and she separated from Ted Hughes and went and settled in London with her two children. So, this particular poem, Mirror, was written when her first child was born at the age of 24, when she was 24 years old and her first child was born. But due to this patriarchal system, you can say, and due to the, you can say, the impositions that were laid down in the family, she could not exercise her mind, she could not show her independence, and she could not express her thoughts as she wanted to do. So that created a sort of a depression in her life, and many a times she tried to commit suicide because she could not come out of her shell. And when she started writing poems, of course, through her poems she did reflect her ideas and thoughts, which are a sign of the feministic movement in the contemporary times, especially in the contemporary times. And on February 11, 1963, she committed suicide by gassing herself. So that was a tragedy with Sylvia Plath. And two of her famous poetic collections were The Colossus, which was published in 1960, and The Ariel, which was published in 1965, and a short semi autobiography, The Bell Jar, in 1963. So, this is a small semi autobiographical novel which she wrote. And she also won a Pulitzer Prize posthumously in 1982. And most of her poems later on were edited and published by her husband, Ted Hughes, only later on. So, this is a small poem which is written in two stanzas, and the two stanzas can be separated in a way, but both of them show different ideas, but at the same time, with their equal length of space, they tend to reflect the same image that the poetess is talking about. So the tonal similarity is there in the two stanzas. So She says in the first stanza, which can be the first part of the poem talks about mirror. Now you all are very much familiar with mirror. Mirror kya hai? Darpan, isn't it? That is what reflects. Mirror is a, you can say it is, the poem is written from the perspective of a mirror, and a mirror tends to reflect the person, the thing, every thing which is as it is present. It is a true representation of things as they are. And whatever is represented, it is unclouded by feelings. So it says, I am silver and exact. So who is talking? And you know, the person, the device that is used in this particular poem is personification. So the mirror is being personified. She says that I am silver and exact. Silver, because mirror is in crystallized form, it is in a silver form, you can say, which is transparent and which is see through. What is transparent can be seen through, isn't it? जो पारदर्शी है, जो हम देख सकते हैं. और सिल्वर कलर जो है उसका यही है, ऑफ वाइट कलर है मिरर का, सिल्वर कलर है. And another term, another description of the mirror is exact. Exact is, that is a true representation of what I am. Not what I am, but what the person is, who or he or she or a thing or an object, animate or inanimate, that is reflected in a mirror. And the mirror says, I have no preconceptions. Whatever you see, I swallow immediately. Now, let me tell you, this poem was published in the year 1961, but it came out, I mean, it was first written in 1961, but it was published later on in 1971. And the mirror says, he says, I have no preconceptions. That is, I have no ideas. Preconceived, biased, made in my mind. That is, if I see as you are, I'm going to reflect you in whatever state you present yourself towards the mirror, in front of the mirror. That is, I'm not going to transform you into a beauty. I'm not going to give you another shape or a size or a form or a color which you desire in your own heart, but I am going to give a true representation of yourself. So I have no preconceived ideas, preconceived notions, preconceived forms. Whatever you see, I swallow immediately, just as it is, unmisted by love or dislike. So whatever you see, I swallow immediately. That is, whatever is presented in front of me, I represent back, I reflect back. मिरर क्या करता है? जैसा आपने प्रेजेंट करा, जैसे आप खड़े हो, वैसे ही रिफ्लेक्शन आपको मिलेगा. In whatever color you are, and whatever you are wearing, and whatever shape and size you have, isn't it? So I am a true representation of, I swallow, मतलब swallow means कि हम जो चीज जैसा देखते हैं, जैसा खाते हैं वही है ना, जो तुम खाओगे वही तो डाइजेस्ट होगा. Whatever you swallow, as it is, whatever the intake is there, you will find it being produced in your body. The minerals or vitamins, whatever the intake is there, in whatever form you take, that only will give you nutrition to your body. In the same way, ये तो एक physical object है. Mirror is a physical object which is swallowing the person, the thing, which is being reflected through the form of the mirror. Unmistak, कहते हैं ना, unmistak, but without any fog or mist over it. That is representing it in a true form. Unmisted form is objective presentation of a thing as it is. मतलब no coats, कोई कोट लगा के उसके ऊपर नहीं है, isn't it? शीशा तो वही reflect करेगा whatever is being shown to it, isn't it? It is not going to coat or uncoat in whatever form the object is being presented. So it is an inanimate thing which reflects objectively whatever it intakes. So whatever you see, I swallow immediately, just as it is. This is just in the same true form, in its true shape, unmisted, unbiased. He says, and uncolored and unclouded by either love or dislike. मतलब मिरर तो अपना कोई फीलिंग्स, इट्स ऑब्जेक्टिव इन नेचर. सो unclouded by any feelings. It is expressionless. वो अपनी feeling और love और dislike मतलब passion कुछ भी नहीं show करेगा. In whatever form you present yourself, if you dress up, decorate yourself, you become ornate, and you stand in front of the mirror to admire you, the mirror will reflect you in the same form. But early in the morning, all shabby and disheveled, you get up and see your face in the mirror, you will find the mirror reflecting the same thing. That how shabby you are looking, how dull you are looking, how drab you are looking also at the same time. So mirror is not going to polish things or give a better reflection of what you are. So unmisted by love and doesn't show any love or dislike, that is any feelings. It is unclouded by any feelings. But at the same time, fourth line में कहता है, I'm not cruel, only truthful. अब भाई ये है, तुम कह दो क्यों? हम अच्छा लगना चाहते हैं. I want to be shown beautiful in the mirror. That is something good. मतलब imagination में, even if I am not beautiful, but I would like to be reflected as a beauty in a mirror. But the mirror denies. Mirror says, if I am representing you as you are, then I am giving you the truth of life. I am being truthful. I am not being cruel. I am not being nasty. I don't want to give you a horror or put you in a state of a turmoil just because you are not getting what you want from the mirror. That is the image that is there. वही बात है, mirror will reflect truthfully what it sees as it is, unbiased by any feelings of love or dislike. So mirror is a true representation of yourself. So I am not cruel, only truthful. The eye of a little God, four cornered. So mirror को personify करा गया है with a God. God क्या है? With the eye of the God. Eye of God को क्या है? God is an eternity, is an infinity, and God watches over every individual. वो individually नहीं, दुनिया में हर इंसान हर चीज को देखता है भगवान. वही तो कहते हैं तुम सबकी नजर से बच सकते हो लेकिन भगवान की नजर से नहीं बच सकते हो. You cannot escape the eye of the God. So the mirror is like the eye of the God. लेकिन वही है कि वो चारों कोने से देखता है. उसकी आंखें, गॉड की आंखें चारों कोने से देखती हैं. You may try to hide something from God. If you are guilt conscious and if you are doing something bad, you will not like God to know about it. Isn't it? So जैसे छुपा रहे हो कोई चीज, जैसे अपने पेरेंट्स से छुपाते हो, वैसे तुम भगवान से भी you want to escape from the eyes of the God. But वही है, just as you cannot escape from the eyes of the God, in the same way you cannot escape the eyes of the mirror. So the mirror is like the eye of a little God, four-cornered. It can see from all sides. Most of the times I mediate on the opposite wall. A mirror क्या है? When nobody is standing in front of the mirror, तो mirror क्या है? Mirror तो पड़ा ही रहेगा ना. Like तुम्हारे ड्रेसिंग रूम में अगर मिरर है and you are not there, no particular object is shown or reflected in the mirror, तो क्या? Mirror will look upon the pink wall that is facing it. जिस वॉल के आगे मिरर लगा है उस वॉल को वो फेस कर रहा है. The pink wall is in front of it, isn't it? तो वो तो पूरे टाइम उस वॉल को, ऑपोजिट वॉल को देखता रहेगा और मेडिटेट करता रहेगा कि भाई दिस इज द इमेज इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी. मेरे सामने और कोई व्यक्ति विशेष नहीं है, मेरे सामने कोई ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं है विच इज बीन शोन. सो आई एम जस्ट वॉचिंग द मिरर, द वॉल, द पिंक वॉल दैट इज ऑन द ऑपोजिट साइड. इट इज पिंक विथ स्पेकल्स, दैट इज, और ये वॉल जो है पिंक है. पिंक क्यों कहा गया? क्योंकि मतलब इट्स अ जनरल कलर, दैट इज, इट्स नॉट ब्लैंक, इट्स नॉट वाइट, बट इट इज पिंक विथ स्पेकल्स, मतलब डॉट्स, कुछ कुछ है उसके अंदर, कोई कोई डॉट्स, कोई कोई धब्बा है. आई हैव लुक्ड एट इट सो लॉन्ग, आई थिंक इट इज द पार्ट ऑफ माई हार्ट. और मिरर कहता है भाई जब कोई मेरे सामने आया नहीं बहुत देर से, if nobody has come turned in front of me, then I have kept on looking at it, and I looked at it so long that it has become the part of me. It is something which belongs to me. It is something that is inside me. Unless somebody comes and stands in front of me and tries to show herself or himself. I have looked at it so long, I think it is the part of my heart, that is, it is almost my soul, my reflection. But it flickers, he says. Flickers means it कीप्स ऑन चेंजिंग, मूव करता रहता है, क्योंकि समथिंग और द अदर कीप्स गोइंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ द मिरर। अब मिरर के सामने तुम खुद नहीं जाके खड़े होते हो, लेकिन कोई आया, कोई गया, कोई ऑब्जेक्ट किसी ने वहां से पास हुआ, तो वो फ्लिकरिंग ऑफ द इमेजेस कीप ऑन अकरिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ द मिरर। अब पर्टिकुलरली तुम जाके खड़े हो 10 मिनट उसके आगे, तो तुम रिफ्लेक्ट हो। लेकिन इफ यू आर नॉट देयर, इफ nobody, no any person in particular is not there in front of the mirror, तो मिरर के सामने तो बहुत कुछ होता रहता है, बहुत लोग आते जाते सब कुछ रहता है। So it flickers the different images that are posted in front of it. Faces and darkness separate us over and over. Faces, that is, in the morning time, in the daytime, you see the different coming and going of the different faces. लेकिन darkness क्यों कहा है? क्योंकि at the night time, when it is night time, everything is covered in darkness and nothing is reflected in the mirror. अब रात के अंधेरे में एकदम बंद कमरे में अंधेरा है, बत्ती बंद है, और तब तुम मिरर के आगे खड़े होगे तो मिरर क्या रिफ्लेक्ट करेगा? कुछ नहीं। It will only reflect darkness, no matter how many faces will come and go in front of it. But with the darkness, with the coming of the dawn in the early morning times, you again would like to stand in front of the mirror to view yourself. So faces and darkness separate us over and that is sometimes in the light, I reflect objects and things and persons, but during night time, with darkness, I hide everything. और फिर अब देखो सेकंड पार्ट, ये तो था एक ऑब्जेक्टिविटी, ये एक ऑब्जेक्टिव डिस्क्रिप्शन फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऑफ अ मिरर। सो ये ऑब्जेक्टिव पोएम हो गई। व्हेन मिरर इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द मिरर व्हिच इज बीइंग पर्सोनिफाइड एज अ पर्सन, व्हेन द मिरर इज स्पीकिंग अबाउट इटसेल्फ एज व्हाट आई एम एंड व्हाट that is, I am not biased, I am truthful, I am honest in my representation of people. पर अब सेकंड पार्ट में कहता, नाउ आई एम अ लेक, that is, a woman is standing in front of me and I am like a lake, because whatever is shown in front of me, that is reflected back to the person. So जैसे लेक में when you see yourself in a lake, तो क्या होता है? तुम्हारी image reflect होती है, the reflection of the image is there in the lake. So the lake tends to reflect the image of the mirror of the woman. A woman bends over me, searching my reaches for what she really is. That is, she is looking into me, into the mirror, as if she is looking into a lake and is trying to search out to find the true identity of her own self, of what she really is, how she looks like. With the passage of time, with the ongoing coming and going of years, naturally, a child turns into a youth, youth into a young person, and young person into an old age. Not time and tide cannot stop you from going up and growing old. So, but a woman is searching to find what she is. So, searching my reaches for what she really is. Then she turns to those liars, the candles, or the moon. But then, when she finds the image that is reflected back to her is not a real image, because she's aged. Wrinkles are shown on her face, there are freckles, there are spots. There's weakness in the body which is reflected in the lake. Then she wants to hide that and take recourse to the other sources of reflection. That is, candle bhi reflect karti hai. Candle light also gives a reflection. Moon also reflects your image. When you go out and it is bright moonlight, then also your image is reflected. So it is, and वो तुम्हें कैंडल लाइट और मून लाइट जो है, एक तरह से कहना चाहिए तुम्हारे फॉल्स इमेज प्रेजेंट कर रहा है, दैट इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग यू फॉर व्हाट यू आर नॉट. सो इसीलिए उनको लायर्स कहा गया है. वही है, व्हेन यू नो दैट यू आर नॉट लुकिंग ब्यूटीफुल, व्हेन यू नो दैट यू आर लुकिंग ओल्ड, हैगर्ड एंड फेकल्ड, एंड द अदर पर्सन सेज नहीं नहीं आप तो बहुत सुंदर लग रहे हैं, so you know the person is flattering and telling a lie. In the same way, the candle and the moon are the liars to the true self, she says. And I see her back and reflect it faithfully. तो मिरर कहता है नहीं, मैं उसे देखता हूँ और फिर उसकी ट्रू इमेज, I am faithful to her, I am honest to her, because I will reflect back as and what she is. So in faith, in truth, I will give a exact picture. She rewards me with tears and an agitation of hands. And she rewards me, that means she starts crying. And she starts crying, and I start crying. She is agitated, disturbed, perturbed, full of turmoil, और वही हम भी कर रहे हैं. हम भी disturbed, perturbed हो रहे हैं. जो वो कर रही है वो हम कर रहे हैं. Why she's crying and why she's agitated? Because she does not want to see herself growing old. अब उसे realize हो रहा है कि all the years have passed by and what have I achieved in life? So I am important to her, but I am giving a true image of her true self, and therefore she gives importance to me. She comes and goes. वो बार बार आती है, बार बार अपनी image देखती है, and because she gets perturbed, frustrated, she goes back. Each morning, it is a face that replaces the darkness. That is, every night, nothing is reflected through the mirror, in the darkness of the mirror, but every morning, again, her face is reflecting her true self. So every morning, I give a replica of her true self. Mirror gives a replica of her true self. In me, she has drowned a young girl, and in me, an old woman rises towards her day after day like a terrible fish. और last two lines are very, very important because कहते हैं in me कौन है? Mirror. She has drowned herself. मतलब वो जो actual में है, the aged woman as she is. She does not want to see herself as an aged woman, as an old woman. So she wants to drown that image of the old woman. And in return, she wants to see the the face of a youthful, lively, energetic, vivacious young girl. That is what she wants to relive her youth, relive the beauty of her life. But in return, क्या मिलता है उसे? जो वो दिखाई पड़ता है, haggard, old, look, worn out look of an aged woman. It is like a terrible fish. That is something which you do not want to look upon at. So she compares herself in her old age as a image of a terrible fish, which is disliked by her own self and which she says probably will be disliked by every other person. So this poem becomes feministic from the point of view because, and why people like this poem, because the young women, and in fact, not only young women, but women of all ages, they get a true image of their own self in this particular poem. So the theme of this particular poem, you can say, is time, aging, and mortality. क्यों? Mortality क्यों है? We are all mortal human beings. We are subject to birth and death. समय के अनुसार हम पैदा होंगे, youthful stage में अपने young age live करेंगे, and finally we will become old and die. So nobody can question the harsh realities of our aging. And it also highlights the horrors and the difficulties one faces in confronting the age. But everybody wants to deny that I am old. And that now no, my faculties are becoming weak. I cannot see properly. I cannot hear properly. I cannot walk properly. I cannot do things as I was able to do in my young age. So that is the meaning of the poem Mirror. And this identification of the women of the contemporary times with the feelings and the thoughts of Sylvia Plath are very much, um, uh, conjoined to give a feministic look upon this particular poem, Mirror. So it's not a mirror only for Sylvia Plath, but it is a mirror for all the women of the contemporary times. Thank you.